Privy, this is Savasia, and I present to you Dragon Age Origins. We are still in Lothering and about to enter the tavern, where we will meet people. That usually happens in taverns, doesn't it? And if you wonder how I record with a desktop microphone, I have that tied to my chest, throat, whatever, high up on its stand, with an old set of earphones, because that works best.
That he may have had something to do with the king's death.
I can't.
Well, look what we have here, then. I think we've just been blessed.
Uh-oh. Loghain's men. This can't be good.
Didn't we spend all morning asking about a dwarf by this very description? And everyone said they hadn't seen one.
It seems we were lied to.
Gentlemen, surely there is no need for trouble. These are no doubt simply more poor souls seeking refuge.
They're more than that. Now stay out of our way, sister. You protect these traitors, you'll get the same as them.
If you wonder why a chantry sister has a sword on her back, you're not alone. What makes you think we're traitors?
Tern Loghain claims the Grey Wardens betrayed the king. Or haven't you heard?
Enough talk! Take the warden into custody. Kill this sister and anyone else that gets in your way.
Right, let's make this quick.
Oh well. Morrigan? Mind Blast? Yes, I always look directly above. You... Do you have... Thanks? Alright. And the Chantra sister helps us. Quite aptly, actually. Oops. I believe. Oh. Well then, let's hope for the best.
All right, you've won. We surrender.
Good. They've learned their lesson and we can all stop fighting now.
The Grey Wardens didn't betray King Kaelin. Loghain did.
I was there. The turn pulled us out of a trap.
The turn left the king to die.
The wardens led the king to his death. The turn could do nothing.
Take a message to Loghain.
What do you want to tell him?
He'll pay for what he's done. We're coming for him.
I'll tell him. Right away. Now. Thank you.
I apologize for interfering, but I couldn't just sit by and not help.
So see, where does a sister learn to fight like that?
I wasn't born in the Chantry, you know. Many of us had more colorful lives before we joined. Let me introduce myself. I am Liliana, one of the lay sisters of the Chantry here in Lothering. Oh, I was.
I am Sigyn, a pleasure.
Those men said you're a Grey Warden. You will be battling the Darkspawn, yes? That is what Grey Wardens do. I know after what happened, you will need all the help you can get. That's why I'm coming along.
I'm sorry, sister, but you are very mistaken.
Oh, I thought you might say that. But you see, the Maker wants me to join you.
Alright, I believe this is where I back away slowly.
I know that sounds absolutely insane, but it's true. I had a dream. A vision.
More crazy? I thought we were all full up.
Look at the people here. They are lost in their despair, and this darkness, this chaos, will spread. The Maker doesn't want this. What you do, what you are meant to do, is the Maker's work. Let me help.
I need more than prayers, I'm afraid.
I can fight, I can do more than fight. As I said, I was not always a lay sister. I put aside that life when I came here. But now, if it is the Maker's will, I will take it up again. Gladly. Please let me help you.
Very well, I will not turn away help when it is offered.
Perhaps your skull was cracked worse than Mother thought.
Thank you. I appreciate being given this chance. I will not let you down.
Alright, and now we're at the point where we have more than 3 companions. And for the moment I will keep Morrigan with me, but the dog isn't offering all too much input, to tell you the truth. And while she is technically an archer, I will keep her with me now simply because of the party banter, because the people
Indeed.
talk. And I like to talk.
Okay. Right. Next.
Alright, so we've gained another companion. Here we see the Blackstone liaison. I told you that there are more parties like more yeah, you know, groups of people that like the chanter sport, more places where you can get quests that aren't exactly a single person with a single purpose that they want you to fulfill. You get also these people, or these organizations I should say, these organizations where you can do multiple quests for these organizations. And the Blackstone Liaison are one of them.
You're here about food. Take it up with that bleeding runt by the chantry. I got other gear to sell.
Know any well-paying work in leathering?
Check the chanter's board by the chantry. There's good jobs there. I don't suppose you know anything about poison?
I have dabbled in such things.
I figured if I kept asking, I'd find someone. I'd pay good coin for some simple poison. Something to slow them beasties down or make them think twice.
Any idea where I could find ingredients?
Well, there's herbs in the North Wood. As for other stuff, look around town. Some refugees just left things behind to travel faster. I don't really know what you need, though. I might have some in stock, too.
Show me what you've got. Alright, yes. In fact, you know, 'cause I can. Alright, we have a new quest, the Poisonous Proposition, which is one of the few quests that I have remaining. As one of the 3 crafting quests. The one was the traps that I couldn't fulfill. The second was the medicinal thing where I stupidly got rid of all my poultices. And this. And first I need to equip Liliana with something better. Alistair, do I have anything for you? No. 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 And Liliana, the thing about Liliana is that she is an archer. So I should actually give her a bow, but right now I can't really do that. I'll give her a sword. Is that a long sword? What? Doesn't she have a shield as well? I think she's carrying a shield at the beginning, isn't she? That's ridiculous, so I'll give her the dagger in the second hand. Because I don't really have a bow. I will also equip her with some... I'm selfish. Oh, I can't even use that. Or that. I mean, I can, but it's pointless. Then you get that. You also get the leather gloves, because I think heavy gloves aren't really a good idea for you. 120, 120, that's nothing, nothing. And well, let's see what it does to you. Nothing. Good. If I give you the gloves, that do something to you? No, even that doesn't. Alright, then keep them. For now. Yes. As for me, I looked at Morrigan. When lose physical resistance, which she doesn't really need much. Alright, alright. I can sell that stuff then.
Any luck with that poison? Or you here to see my stock?
Show me what you've got. I'm keeping that because I need it later. Actually, I might have kept that armor too, but I'm a lot of a cord. Let me see if he has any gifts. He does. Most vendors have, or some vendors have gifts for the companions. Then, okay, crafting. Lord, I know. I don't really remember how to do that. Skills. And what exactly does he want? Poisonous proposition, create a poison. 3 flasks of venom. 3 flasks of venom. Okay, I believe venom is the one thing I don't have. I need toxin extracts. 3.
Any luck with that poison? Or you here to see my stock?
Yes, show me what you've got. Do you have toxin extracts? No, don't do that. No, I can either not read or he doesn't have them. But I believe the guy outside does. Valerian potion recipe, that's a good thing. That's always good, D. If I now click that, can I actually craft? I mean, my Morrigan is my... Yes, and I have these things. That is always good. Let me then... Hang on, let me talk to the irregulars first.
As I live and breathe,
They
you're
aren't
the Grey
irregulars.
Warden everyone's been talking about.
Is there something I can do for you?
I represent the Blackstone Irregulars. We're a mercenary company that fell on hard times after the war with Orlais. I'm sure you know that times are getting worse every day. With your help, the Irregulars could be of use to Ferelden once more.
How can I be of service?
Our leaders thought you might be willing to help. Each of our posts in Ferelden will contain letters addressed to you. Unlike most who work with us, you're getting letters straight from Raelnor and Tauran, our leaders. I hope this tells you how highly the Irregulars regard the Grey Wardens.
I'll take a look.
Thank you. When you've completed a mission, just return to me or any of our members stationed at an Irregulars post. We'll make sure your efforts are rewarded. Maker's blessings light your path.
Again, that's the voice of Desmond Askew.
What do you need?
Oh, I didn't mean to click you. Sorry, never mind. I meant to click the box. Scraping the barrel. Number of people who pledged to aid the Blackstone Irregulars in times of need. Those times are now. Here you will find 3 letters of inscription. Deliver them to the people listed below and return to the Irregulars for your payment. Should any of these people refuse, do what you must to get them to honor their oath. Conscripts, Daniel Garrison Redcliffe, Pater Gritch, Leathering, and Varaban Denerim. That means one of them we have to find here. And dereliction of duty. My friend, the Irregulars require a trusted agent to track down and deal with deserters. Do this and you will be rewarded. These deserters took with them valuable supplies crucial to the Irregulars' future as a supplier of martial services. Deal with these wastes of space as you see fit and bring the supplies back as proof that the problem has been dealt with. We will ask no questions as to your methods or the final condition of the deserters. Use your own discretion. Accept. Alright. Blackstone quests, right. You can't doubt the how ethical this actually is. Let me see what you've got.
More trouble? We've about all we can stand in Lothering now.
Sorry about the mess.
They had it coming, and they were trouble enough themselves. So long as you don't start more, I won't get excited. Right then, name's Denal. Sorry I can't chat much. As you see, we've a full house.
I don't suppose you have any rooms.
Look around. People are sleeping on the floors and in the attic. That's how many rooms I don't have.
What do you know about the cage cunari outside the village?
That monster killed 3 families, torn them up like a beast. The cage is too good for him. But it's the Chantry's idea of mercy.
Have you had any rumors?
Well, there's knights from Redcliffe wandering the countryside, looking for the place where Andreste's sacred ashes are said to lie. Can you believe that? The urn holding her ashes is a myth. And yet these knights say they were sent to find it anyhow to heal Arl Eamon. I didn't even know he was ill. Maybe he has a blight. If so, then times are even darker for Ferelden than any of us thought. Anything else I can get you?
He can't have the blight, he can have the taint you slob. Who are those men of foot exactly?
When Tien Logain marched by, he left those fellas behind to look for Grey Wardens. I suppose that's you.
Yes, it is.
I have no qualm with you, whatever the Tien says. My grandfather served. Your secret's safe with me. What can I get you then?
Abigail.
Luck speed your way.
Right. I want to see what my timer says because I have a bit of chatting to do with Liliana. And also it's time to talk about love interests. You have 4 people you can have a romance with depending on your gender. Alistair is only available for women and Morrigan only for men. Liliana and someone we'll meet later will be available for both. Or for either, I should say. Yes, so since I've been blatantly flirting with Alistair before, I've made my decision it seems. As I had before actually. Let's talk to her. What do you know of this place?
Lothering? I think it started as a settlement by the river, and then grew when it became the place where 2 roads met. There are always people in Lothering, but many are just passing through.
Let's talk about something else.
Yes?
What do you know of I'd like to talk.
Well, here I am.
This vision of yours.
I knew this would come up sooner or later. I don't know how to explain, but I had a dream. In it, there was an impenetrable darkness. It was so dense, so real. And there was a noise, a terrible, ungodly noise. I stood on a peak and watched as the darkness consumed everything. And when the storm swallowed the last of the sun's light, I fell, and the darkness drew me in.
What then?
When I woke, I went to the Chantry's gardens, as I always do. But that day, the rose bush in the corner had flowered. Everyone knew that bush was dead. It was grey and twisted and gnarled, the ugliest thing you ever saw. But there it was, a single beautiful rose. It was as though the Maker stretched out his hand to say, even in the midst of this darkness, there is hope and beauty. Have faith.
And this made you want to help me?
In my dream, I fell, or maybe I jumped. I'd do anything to stop the blight. I know that we can do it. There are so many good things in the Maker's world. How can I sit by while the blight devours everything?
The Chantry says the Maker has left us.
He's still here. I hear him in the wind and the waves. I feel him in the sunlight that warms my skin. I know what the Chantry says about the Maker, and what should I believe? What I feel in my heart, or what others tell me?
Believe what feels right to you, Liliana.
Thank you. It's nice to find someone who agrees. I know what I know, and no one will ever make that untrue.
I actually like her.
Yes?
I'd like to talk.
Well, here I am.
What was life like in the Chantry cloister?
Quiet. It was a life suited for contemplation. In the cloister, away from the fuss and the flurry of the cities, I found peace. And in that stillness, I could hear the Maker. But it was not perfect. Some of my Chantry fellows were condescending. That is the nature of religious folk, I suppose.
Condescending? How so?
When I talked about my beliefs, that the Maker reveals himself in the beauty of his world, they treated me with disdain. They want to believe that he's gone, so that when he turns his gaze on them, it means they are special, chosen. He cannot possibly have love for all, the sick and the weary, the beggars and the fools.
I prefer your ideas to the ideas of the Chantry.
Thank you. Maybe I am wrong. But it is the Maker's place to decide if I am worthy, not men, not the Chantry. But there is work to be done, and I have talked enough for now.
Oh, I thought you liked talking.
Yes?
I'd like to talk.
Well, here I am.
What would someone like you be doing in Leathering's Chantry?
What is meant by someone like me?
And here you can start flirting, like line number 2, which I won't. They don't teach you how to fight in the cloister, do they?
Did you think I was always a cloistered sister? The Chantry provides succor and safe harbor to all who seek it. I chose to stay and become affirmed.
Affirmed?
We affirm our belief in the Maker, in Andraste and the Chant, but other than that, there are no vows taken.
What did you do before that?
I was a traveling minstrel in Orlais. Tales and songs were my life. I performed, and they rewarded me with applause and coin. And my skill in battle? Well, you pick up different skills when you travel, yes? Yes, of course. Let's move on.
Does that seem like a slightly vague answer? Oh, I think it does.
Yes?
I'd like to talk.
Well, here I am.
You who are a traveling minstrel, do you have any tales to share?
Of course I do. I love stories far too much to keep them to myself. Everyone should be able to benefit from them, I think.
Tell me about Darkspawn.
Chantry law says it is man's pride that created the Darkspawn. In ages past, the mages of the Tevinder Imperium ruled much of the world we know. In their pride, they thought their magics invincible and imagined that they were greater than the Maker himself. So thinking, they invaded his golden city, planning to take it for themselves and depose their own creator. But they were impure and full of sin, and it is with the sin that they tainted the golden city, corrupting it forever. The Maker cursed them and cast them from his sight. Wherever they went, they spread the taint of their sin. Any land that was touched by the taint became blighted and would suffer no life. Instead, the Darkspawn arose to torment us and remind us of our hubris.
Do you know any stories from Orlais?
Of course, Orlesians enjoy telling stories. I shall tell you my favorite tale of Aveline, the Knight of Orlais.
That sounds interesting.
A long time ago, a girl child was born to a farmer. He had hoped for a son, not a daughter, and so he told his wife to abandon the child in the woods. Before the cold could claim her, the baby was found by a tribe of Dalish elves who took pity on the poor mewling thing and raised her as their own. Aveline, for that is what they called her, grew strong and quick and clever under the guidance of the elves. She learned to wield the sword as well as any man, could kill a deer with an arrow at 100 paces, and was as graceful on the back of a horse as she was on foot.
Continue, please.
Aveline's Dalish guardians saw that she could easily best any Orlesian chevalier in battle, and wanted to show the cruel humans the child they had left to die. They bestowed upon her a fine horse and armor, and sent her to prove herself to her people in the grand tourney. Now in those days, no woman was allowed to take up arms, let alone compete in the grand tourney, but Aveline kept her helmet on and was not discovered.
Go on.
Aveline won many events and gained the approval of the adoring crowd. Eventually, she came face to face with the knight Kaleva in the grand melee. Aveline had already bested him in the joust, and Kaleva was determined not to lose a second time. Out of desperation to regain his honor, Kaleva tripped Aveline and tossed her to the ground, ripping off her helmet as he did so. Silence fell upon the arena as Aveline was revealed. Kaleva declared the previous competitions invalid, A woman had taken part, and this was not allowed. But the crowd cheered for Aveline. Kaleva was furious, for he had lost to a woman and was now being shamed. Blinded by his rage, he forced Aveline to her knees. "Know your place, woman," cried he, and slit her throat.
I was hoping for a happy ending.
The son of the king, Prince Freyan, was present. He recognized Aveline's skill and bravery and began to see the injustice done to the women in his land. When he was made king, he rewrote the laws of Olay so that women could also become chevalier. He honored Aveline and knighted her after her death. And to this day, any female who is knighted reveres Aveline the Brave, for she is the patron of all women chevalier.
We will, in Dragon Age 2, meet an Aveline, who is named after that Aveline, I assume now, if she told me, which I suppose I forgot that. Tell me about that we had. Do you know any Ferelden legends?
I know one, told to me by my mother a long time ago. It always chilled me to the bone. Maybe you have heard of Flemeth?
Flemeth? Morrigan's mother was called Flemeth.
Are you sure? Was she the Flemeth of legend? Flemeth, the devourer of men. Flemeth, mother of witches. Flemeth, demon-touched, who dwells in the mists.
She didn't really introduce herself as such.
Ferelden mothers scare their daughters with talk of Flemeth. They say that if you're bad, Flemeth will spirit you away and bind you to her forever. They also say that Flemeth mourns her lost beauty and will steal yours through your looking glass if she catches you.
Tell me the whole story.
Flemeth's beauty was known throughout the land. She had hair like unto a moonless night, skin as pale as winter's first snow, and eyes as beautiful and perilous as the sea. When she came of age, she came to the attention of the Lord of Highever, Conobar, and he took her for his wife. Conobar soon learned that his young bride had the gift of magic. He kept this a secret, for he feared that she would be taken from him. Flemeth stayed with Conobar for some years, and with his blessing, she practiced her art. And then one day, a young poet named Osen came to the castle. Flemeth was captivated by Osen's voice, and he by her beauty, and they fell in love.
What happened then?
Flemeth longed to be with her true love, and she and Osen fled from Conobar's lands, seeking refuge in the Kokari wilds with the Chasing tribes. They lived there happily for many a year, till the day Flemeth received news that Conobar was dying and longed to see her face one last time. Flemeth's heart swelled with pity for the man who once was her husband, and begged Osen to return to Conobar's side with her. But when Flemeth and Osen entered Highever, they were captured by Conobar's men, and Osen was slain in front of Flemeth's eyes. Flemeth was imprisoned in the highest tower of the castle, there to await Conobar's judgment on her. Distraught at the loss of her love, Flemeth plotted revenge against her husband. She summoned a fey demon, intending for it to wreak vengeance on Conobar. But a spell went awry. The demon possessed Flemeth. Turning her into an abomination, the halls of the castle ran red with blood as Flemeth slaughtered Conobar and all his men. The last of Flemeth's humanity melted away, and at dawn, she stole back to the wilds to plot and scheme for 100 years. They say she took to her side many Chasing men, and with their help, begat her daughter witches, who even now prowl the dark places of the Kokari wilds.
Perhaps I can hear more about the Darkspawn. I'll try to tell me about Darkspawn.
Chantry lore says it is man's pride that created the Darkspawn. In ages past, the mages of the Tevinder Imperium
I think that's already
ruled
what you
much
said,
of
isn't
the
it?
world we know. And their pride,
Yes.
so any land that was touched
Right.
by the taint.
There was
became
another
blighted
story I wanted to
and was-
hear.
Which one?
Do you know anything about the Dalish?
I have heard a little about how the elves gained their freedom from the Tevinter Imperium. When Andraste began her exalted march against the Imperium, The elves joined her cause to fight their masters. The great elven leader, Shatan, born in captivity, rose up to lead his people. He foresaw a future where the elves were free. Shatan was killed when Andraste was betrayed, but the elves continued to fight, eventually breaking free of the Imperium. The elves claimed the Dales in the south and settled there in a land of their own.
It didn't last.
The elves lived in the Dales for centuries. They resurrected the worship of the elven gods and would allow the building of no chantry. This angered the chantry, and the hostility between the two factions finally broke out in open war. The chantry says the elves struck first, but I do not know whether to believe it. The chantry declared a holy exalted march against the elves, named for Andraste's similar march against Tevinter. During the exalted march of the Dales, the elven cities were sacked, and the elven state completely dissolved. Some of the elves bitterly accepted their fates and surrendered to human rule, living in the human cities as second-class citizens. But others, still fiercely proud of their heritage, refused to bow to the humans, and instead became homeless wanderers. They were the elves of the Dales, the Dalish.
What do you know about Andraste?
Andraste was the Maker's chosen. The Maker had long since abandoned the world when the sound of her singing turned his ear. Beauty, grace, and wisdom enraptured him, and he offered to take her from this flawed world to become his divine bride. But Andraste had an earthly husband and would not forsake him. Instead, she beseeched the Maker to return to his people once more. So earnest was her plea that the Maker was moved and promised that he would create a paradise on earth if all abandoned their false gods and turned once more to him. And this is why Andraste began her exalted march on the idolaters of the Tevinter Imperium. The Maker granted her his powers with which to smite her enemies. Andraste brought the Imperium to its knees, and her victories converted many to the worship of the Maker.
How did Andraste die?
Alas, it was the frailties of men that betrayed and killed Andraste. Her earthly husband, Mafarath, a chieftain of the Alamari tribes himself, grew jealous as his wife's popularity and influence overshadowed his own. She was also revered as the Maker's betrothed, and Mafarath began to see their own bond waning in significance as Andraste became ever more devoted to the Maker. Out of envy and spite, Mafarath made a pact with the Archon Hysarian of Tevinter, allowing his beloved Andraste to be ambushed and captured. Andraste was burned at the stake in Minrathous, the capital of Tevinter.
But Tevinter has a chantry, doesn't it?
The Tevinter chantry claims that in Andraste's last moments, Hysarian's heart softened, and he heard the voice of the Maker telling him to end her suffering. He plunged his sword into her heart, and as her blood washed over his hands, he became one of the faithful. Dissenters said that the Archon only converted because he could not stem the tide of Andraste's cult, and was forced to do so to stay in power. We will never know for sure.
Oh, I need to have a go through that again. Tell me about Andraste and the Maker again.
Beauty, grace, and wisdom enraptured him, and he offered to take her from this flawed world to become his divine bride. But Andraste had an earth. Andraste brought the Imperium to
Tell me
its
about
knees,
Andraste's death
and
again.
her earth. Andraste was burned at
Why
the
did-
stake in
Shut up.
Minrathous, the capital of Tevinter.
Why did the Maker not save her with his power?
I have thought on this too. Did he withdraw his sight from her at that moment? Where were all the powers he bestowed upon her? This question has come to me many times, and I have no answer. Perhaps there was no way for Andraste to return to the Maker but through her death. We will never know for sure.
Let's just move on. Alright, this was Savacia and Dragon Age Origins because my time has run out. Wo weiter?